Well, it's two back-to-back wins for Islamabad United. Ben Dwarshuis cleaning Muhammad Ali up with that wicket, and now Islamabad United have won 2 consecutive games, set up beautifully at the top by Sahibzada Farhan. He was the man of the day for them, and overall jubilation in the gap. Mike Hesson, he spoke earlier to us as well in the previous show, just spoke about what clicks for Islamabad United. Handshakes all round, and I'm sure that this is a happy camp. They are, remember, the defending champions, pretty much doing what they did last year to all the other teams. It's a thumping victory for them. They've won just by 102 runs. 243 for 5 is what they made in their 20 overs. Like I said, Sahibzada Farhan really setting the tone at the top with that century. He's got 4 centuries in T20 cricket now. Colin Munro again chipping in with that valuable 40 of 27 balls. In response, Peshawar Zalmi's batting was rolled out for 141. No real partnerships in between, but Muhammad Haris was at the top, scoring some runs for them. 87 of 47 he made, but Islamabad United won by a huge margin, 102 runs. This is what it looks like on this HBL PSL table. Islamabad United are now at the top of the table with 4 points. They've played both their games and won both their games quite comfortably. And in the end, it's the top 4 that will be qualifying for the playoffs. Hello and welcome to Pitchside once again, and Islamabad United are triumphant yet again. Everything seems to be working for them. It's 2 back-to-back wins for them. It was Holder in the first game, really the player of the match, and today it was their opener Sahibzada Farhan who got things right, really got things going and took the momentum away from Peshawar Zalmi. I've got with me in my studio on Pitchside Bazid Khan, and a very special guest in the form of Jason Holder joins us. Jason, a very warm welcome to you on Pitchside. You played extremely well in that previous game, bowled really well, and today as well. It just seems like Islamabad United is a team that has got things going in the right direction. How do you feel about today's win?
Yeah, really proud of the guys. I think we played a complete game of cricket. You could get easily complacent after scoring 240 odd in the first innings, and thinking that the game is all won. But the discipline the bowlers showed was remarkable. I think we were very disciplined throughout the entire innings. We held our chances, and we look a quality unit.
You're talking about the fact that you look like a quality unit. You're definitely, bowling like a quality unit as well in these conditions. Not the easiest conditions to bowl on, but we've seen that from you as well, the way you were bowling in that previous game. I mean, what's the key here?
I think you just got to be disciplined. It's important to understand the correct length to bowl, and I think we've been able to adjust quite well. I also think our spinners have been able to adjust. I think they're now starting to understand the correct pace to bowl out on this surface. We felt as though, sometimes when you give them enough pace on the ball, it makes it easier to hit. But having said that, I think the ball gripped a little bit more tonight for the spinners, and they came into the game quite nicely.
So what is the correct length? Short of length? If you want to drive, get a car, something like that?
Well, I'm trying not to give you all of our secrets, trying to hold something to their heart. But look, I think ideally, you're looking to hit the top of the stumps. I think most of the guys who've erred on the fuller side have gone the distance, so it either has to be really full right-hander, being a Yorker, or, have to really hold your lengths nice and tight. And also lines and field setting comes into play. I think the fields you set, obviously dictate, how well you can control batters.
But the biggest question here is, has Islamabad United peaked too early?
No. I love this question. I don't think I can say anything else, but I think, we're building nicely. I think we made 2 changes today, which is really good to see other players coming in and filling the boots. And, it's good to see that the squad has got, depth, and that's really good that's signs of a strong side, so hopefully we can continue to play in the vein that we've been playing. And yeah, just be consistent, keep challenging ourselves, and I think every player in the dressing room has their goals, and I think if we bring them together in a team setting and have team goals, we'll be in a good position come the playoffs.
What about somebody like Mike Hesson as a coach? I mean, he comes across as a very sort of, quiet, unassuming personality. When you look at him and you talk to him, he's not. There are some coaches which are very flamboyant and out there, but he comes across the other way. I mean, what's your experience been like working with him?
Yeah, so far so good. I guess everything is all well and good when you're winning. You know, this is my first time being on the mic, but I think the thing that I admire most about him is how calm he is. His demeanor is always pretty calm. You know, he sends that calm influence throughout the dressing room, and you know, he's very clear with his plans. You know, very clear with the things he set out, and guys buy into it. You know, which is a really good sign. So. Look, so far it's been really good being on the mic, and yeah, I've known him for a couple of years, but never played under him. So it's good now to finally get that experience.
Well, I'll tell you what, you weren't just great with the ball, but you were also really good in the slips. That's what we saw today. A brilliant catch taken by Jason Holder, and it was an extremely crucial wicket. Time to have a look at the safe hands for today.
Yeah, terrific length, and it's a slip catch. It hasn't gone too quickly, but no slip catch is easy. The length in line is perfect, the catch is perfect, and it helps when you have such big hands. The ball almost disappears in those hands, so it makes it very easy.
But it's never easy taking those ones,
well,
Jason.
Look at the size of his hands. They're so
long
big.
levers.
There's about 2 of my hands is 1 of his, so how can he drop it? He just can't.
But
Even if he tried, he couldn't.
You still require that technique and effort and skill to be able to catch those, Jason. And that's what I'm really coming at. I mean, is it something that you enjoy? Is fielding something that you enjoy, especially in the slips? I don't know about the rest of the team members, but just want to hear your thoughts on it.
I am happy feeling that slip. You know, there's less running around to do for sure. But no, I enjoy feeling that slip. It's one of the places that I try to make mine. I think most teams I've played in around the world, you know, have trusted me to go at slip. And I've done a decent job over the years doing it. That one, particularly today, it wasn't as simple as I probably made it look. It did swerve and dip a little bit on me, but you know, I was really pleased the way I was able to adjust and just watch it right into the hands all the way through.
All right.
Very few fast bowlers stand at slip, so credit to him.
Definitely credit to him. With those long levers, he should be standing in the slips. Just looking ahead then, looking ahead at what Islamabad United has got next. Obviously, you won the first 2 games. You want to be carrying that momentum. I mean, like you said, rightly pointed out, that what you don't want is complacency from the side. And you're up against Multan Sultans very much here in Pindi on the 16th of April.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good game. Look, I think, as I said today, the beauty about this game is that we've made 2 changes from a winning side, but still been able to get the result we were looking for. And it just, again, it says a lot about the depth in our squad. And I think we haven't peaked yet. I don't think we've played our perfect, complete game. You know, if I'm being overcritical, maybe we can touch upon a few boundary balls that we've been serving up. And, you know, probably trying to hold some wickets a little bit longer in terms of building some partnerships and just going a little bit deeper. So lots to still improve on. In the field as well, we can also pinpoint 1 or 2 areas that we can touch upon. But look, I think the signs that we've shown so far has been pretty good. Just matter for us just to continue in that vein.
All right, thank you so much for your time and your thoughts, Jason. I'm going to let you go, but Bazid, you can't go anywhere because you've got to talk. That's why you're here. On that note, we'll take a short breather, and when we do come back, we'll be joined by a new guest, and it's a surprise guest, so don't go anywhere. All right, back on pitch side, and we have been joined by a surprise guest, the right-arm fast medium bowler who had a bit of medium fast. He was Bazid, a bit of swing, bit of control, loves to be in Pakistan, loves a bit of golf, loves to swing it around, and that's basically our surprise for today. Are you surprised by this?
Not you again.
Well, I'm wearing this green jacket. You know why?
Why?
Go Rory! Yes.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint all of you, but it's Dominic Cork. We have him in the studio to talk about the game today with his expert analysis. You know, he lost a game of golf, but of course he's going to be. No, yeah, he lost to Lisa Stadlaker.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm sorry, I'm
we'll
announcing.
Move on. Anyway, I tell you what a game it's been today for Islamabad United. Forget
nice
that
diversion.
golf. Absolutely brilliant game from them, and they are really setting those standards high. Great to hear what Jason Holder said, that they made 2 changes, and it was like to give people a go as well, and it was great to go into that depth of that squad, which I think we said, what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I can't even remember. We've been here 4 days. I think we both said it, that Islamabad United, when you look at their squad, they're the most balanced squad out of the whole of the HBL PSL.
Well, Bazit already made that prediction, remember, that Islamabad United is going to win again. It was you know...
He got off the fence and that to make it. Yes, you're right, he did, yes.
He did.
Drop mic situation.
That was.
Well, let's talk a little about Peshawar Zalmi as well, because there's one team that seems to have everything sorted, and then there's another team in the form of Peshawar Zalmi who's really struggling, especially their bowling, Bazit. I mean, they conceded 216 runs in the previous game, today as well. Would you put it down to a bit of inexperience in the lineup, or just unable to execute their plans the way they should be?
I think batting, bowling, fielding, the rest is all fine. There is a problem in the bowling. They can't seem to stem the pressure back, and they don't have a go-to bowler. They haven't identified a go-to bowler in a situation where the other team is dominant. You look at the bowling attack and you think, yeah, it's decent, but there's not one standout bowler in those 5 bowlers which you think, yeah, he'll get me wickets, or he'll bowl the crucial overs. You've got bowlers of the like of Muhammad Ali, who's still making a mark. He bowled very well in Multan, but outside Multan he struggles. Then you have a very young bowler who's come into the side. Sufyan Mukim is the bowler that you go to, but he also is very young. Obviously he's played for Pakistan and done well, but the expectation right now is for him to lead the attack, which is, I think, a step too far. So therein lies the problem. There's maybe lack of experience, but also they've not identified the bowler who can really give you a wicket or bowl that crucial over, or come back in a situation when the batters are attacking and just stem the flow.
Also the fact that, you know, at some point when you look at their leadership, you've got somebody like Babar Azam. Again, he's been struggling to get going in international cricket, and that form has transferred, so to speak, in the HBL PS as well. Duck in the previous game, a 1 in this one. So perhaps needs some runs to get his confidence up.
Of course he does. He's a class player. I think we know that, and he's struggled a little bit. He's got, obviously, he was done first time by Mohammed Amir, slower ball caught at extra cover. And this time was, look, it was a good ball. Ben Dorshis is a good player. Sydney, he plays in the Big Bash there, and he's a handy player. But you know, with Babar, he just needs to get in. Once he gets in and gets himself a little bit of confidence there, they're going to get big runs, because him and Saimu at the top, they're the best combination. So they need that. Then what that'll feed into is the bowling. He's spot on, Bazid, about they can't identify when they're under that pressure who to throw the ball to. There's no one there to say, I'm going to do this job at this time. I'm going to bowl in the power play, or if it's going around the park, I'm going to take the responsibility. But when you've got runs on the board, it's a little bit easier to do that. So hopefully, well, if you're obviously a Zalmi fan, they win the toss, they have a bat, they get 240, and then hopefully that will then the confidence will go through to the bowlers. That's what they need. But at the moment, let's be honest, they look way off at the moment.
Well, there was no shortage of runs when it comes to Sahibzada Farhan. He's had a dream run, you know, really carrying on his form from domestic national T20 now into the HBL PSL. Four T20 centuries this year as well. He's also a player of the match.
Yeah, he's fabulous, just carrying on with the form he showed in domestic cricket. I'm so happy for him, because he's one player who's actually come into this tournament on back of a lot of runs in a domestic tournament. And he talked about, after when he was declared player of the match, that he wanted to just play the way he does at a lower level. This is a step up. but he's stepped up as well and produced a beauty.
I tell you what is brilliant about it as well. He's the first Pakistani to get those 4 T20 centuries in the year. I've got to remember this right. I know that Azim will tell me off. I think is it Gale?
Yes.
Kohli?
Yeah.
Joss Buttler?
Shubman Gill.
Shubman Gill.
There you go.
So,
well
you know,
done.
what a category that is to be in. You know, there's some class players there. So he should really be proud of that and then push on and go again.
He also said, I mean, you said that he's backing his game, Baz, but he also said in the multiple interviews that we've done today of him, the fact that, you know, he's taking a few balls, just a few balls to get a feel of the conditions and then really sort of go after them. So clearly there is a method to the madness that we're seeing.
No, though obviously there's a method. You look at his scores in the national T20. He got 148, he got 162. These are big numbers in a 20-over game, so he knows how to go big. And he just needed this one innings probably. I think this will kickstart his HBL PSL career, which hasn't been absolutely brilliant before this. He's played a few times, but I think the way that he played and the fact that he's mentioned that today he sort of thought this is another domestic game, and he played the way that he normally does in domestic cricket, and it paid off. He's got the sails, he's got the shots, and he just needs to trust his ability to be able to deliver, and he's done so. And I'm so chuffed for him, so happy for him, because he's done it the hard way. He scored for 2-3 seasons with domestic cricket and then the level up, and I think this should be a breakout season for him.
Zainab, I think if any batter is watching this in this HBL PSL, just watch the way that they both played, Fakhar Zaman and Farhan today. They gave themselves an opportunity to get in. We talk too much about we want batters to go first ball and go at it hard. Okay, there's certain players who'll do that. Mitchell Owen, say, will be the sort of player who'll do that straight away. That's his role. He will do that. But proper batters give themselves a bit of time and opportunity to actually do it. Look at that. You know, he's got four T20s. Look at that. Most runs in a single edition of T20 tournaments in Pakistan.
605.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. And we talk about, we came on air, remember, first day of this tournament, about how Pakistan national side not doing well. Look at that. Look at what we've seen here, the hundreds that we've seen, the domestic players that are doing well, the franchises that are doing well. That's what this actual HBL PSL is all about. Okay, the national side isn't doing well. Get yourself embedded into a franchise side, get it into the system, understand what your role is, do well and win this tournament. And if anything else comes afterwards, it comes afterwards.
And just taking it a step further, hopefully down the line he'll get selected for the Pakistan team, and hopefully then he'll actually open the innings. He's played a few T20Is for Pakistan and he's been played down the order as well, which I think is a disservice to him. He needs to be opening the innings, because that's where he makes his runs and that's where he's most potent.
Well, you know, your batting number is always going to be crucial. If you're an opener, then you're an opener, and that's where you should be really playing. That's what he's shown us today, that he's got the skill and he just needs to be backed and given that confidence. Time to take a short break on pitch side. We'll be catching you on the other side shortly. Back on pitch side, and it's been a stunning win by Islamabad United. We spoke about Sahibzada Farhan and how he set things up at the top, and overall Islamabad United looking really good in this tournament. Their bowling is going well for them, their batting as well. Overall, a balanced side. I've now been joined in the studio by Lisa Stalekar and Amir Sohail. Lisa, great win for Islamabad. We've spoken a lot about that, but Peshawar Zalmi, they've been conceding too many runs. That's one aspect, but also their batting hasn't been living up to the reputation. The likes of Babar Azam, Saim Ayub at the top haven't really got many runs in this so far.
No, they haven't, and hopefully that will change pretty quick smart for them. Otherwise they're going to be reeling at the bottom of the table. I think if you look back to the first game, there were 4 ducks in that innings, and then we look down the scorecard, and again there's a duck, a one, a couple of ones, a two. So players aren't giving themselves the time to get in. And the opening partnership hasn't quite worked as yet. So that's going to be the real question. Do they, and I think they could have changed today, given the fact that they were chasing such a big total. Mitch Owen could have potentially come up. Babar Azam could have come down the order, and that may have given him an opportunity to get himself in instead of trying to go hard and get ahead of the run rate.
I mean, it's going to be crucial for Babar to score runs, you know, for the success of Peshawar Zalmi, because they are heavily reliant on him. He got a duck in the previous game, a one in this one. Has off late struggled in international cricket. How does he turn it around, Amir, for himself and for his side?
Look, I was listening to Dominic Cork, and he made a good point that, you know, Peshawar Zalmi, if they are to get their confidence back, they have to pray to win the toss and bat first. You know, that will help their cause, because at the moment they've been sent reeling twice in this competition, HBL PSL, chasing. You know, when you're chasing more than 200 runs, you have to tempt your fate, and and your fate will find you anyways, and that's what happened to their batters. And what I see with Peshawar Zalmi at the moment, their management do not really know the potential of their side. You know, when you're making planning and you wanting youngsters to execute those plans, some players, they want to stay in their comfort zone. Some players can be taken out of their comfort zone, and that's what the think tank have to recognize. And I think they haven't recognized the potential of the side, and that's why they are struggling at the moment.
And you just think back also to the first game, they won the toss, they put the opposition in.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes these tournaments, they come thick and fast, and a simple decision like that can have huge ramifications, because you lose the first one, a couple of days later you're back again, you don't win the toss, you lose again. So sometimes just a little moment that doesn't quite go your way can have a big negative effect, and it takes a real jolt to kind of get yourself back on track, and they're going to need it.
But Islamabad United got it right, though, when it comes to their bowling. They definitely were bowling in the right areas. Of course, there was that scoreboard pressure when it comes to Peshawar Zalmi, but there was some, you know, when you talk about their shot selection, there were certain errors of judgment as well. Let's have a look at those errors of judgment in our fall of wickets for today.
You mentioned Babar Azam, Ben Dwarsh is coming in, first delivery, and then Imad Wasim getting the wicket of Mitch Owen. Wasn't given out on field, they decided to take the DRS, and it was a great one. Simon Yu going in the power play, and at that time Peshawar Zalmi were 26 for 3. TKC didn't really last that long. Talat actually looked really good, but then when the required run rate is up close to 15, 16 runs and over, you can see that these guys are trying to go long, trying to find the boundary, trying to clear the boundary, and it was clever bowling by Islamabad United, because they kept the pace off, they didn't allow them to really get away with too much, and in the end it was certainly too big a task, with Ben Dwarsh starting it off and finishing it off.
Well, Ben Dwarsh was a change today for Islamabad United, and he got the prized wicket of Babar Azam up front. That was always going to be key for Islamabad United to be able to win today, to get that wicket of Babar cheaply, and that's what we got. It also features in our refreshing moments of the day.
Yeah, the left arm angle working for Islamabad United and Dwarsh. And it has become a familiar sight when it comes to Babar Azam's batting. You know, whenever the ball is leaving him, it ends up in the slips. You know, he has to really sort out his technique.
It's almost like the left armers are certainly causing him a few troubles. So maybe he has to spend a bit of time in the nets to figure that out.
Well, despite the fact that they won the previous game, Amir, when you talk about Islamabad United, they still made 2 changes, and they seem to be a team who like to rotate. And, you know, when you say horses for courses, that's what we've seen in the past as well from Islamabad United. They're very smart in picking the right team according to the opposition they're playing and the conditions.
Look, one thing they recognize, the finger spinners are not meeting success here. So they brought in a leg spinner for this game. And then you talk about, you know, the openers and the other batters meeting success. Whenever the bowlers are bowling within the stumps, wicket to wicket, that gives other batsmen the opportunity to score freely. That's why they brought in a left-arm fast bowler, which was angling away from the right-hander with a new ball, and then going round the stumps when finishing the innings. So I think they come well prepared, and at the same time, like you suggested, horses for courses. One thing I really like about Islamabad, especially their bowling, whenever they are thinking of delivering a ball, they are fully committed to it. No half measures, and that's why they are meeting success quite regularly in this HBL PSL.
Absolutely, they seem to have their plans spot on when it comes to Islamabad United. Very clear thinking, that's what we've seen from them. Strategic thinking is very clear from Islamabad United, which is why perhaps they have been one of the most successful sides in the HBL PSL history. Time to take a short break on pitch side. Be back just in a bit. But there was at least one glimmer of hope for Peshawar Zalmi. Mohammad Haris came to the party, and it was a bit late by the end, but of course we know what kind of skill he possesses. Let's have a look at some of his boundaries for today.
You're right, someone needed to come to the party, and when you're a player and wickets are falling at the other end, you just need to go in within yourself to kind of go, well, what are the processes? What do I want to work on? What have I been preparing myself to ensure that this HBL PSL is successful for myself? And I think Mohammad Haris did well.
Well, at some point, obviously, with regards to Peshawar Zalmi, Amir, you've got Haris scoring runs. The others need to be supporting him as well. You look at that middle order, you spoke about it as well, that middle order needs to come to the party. So it's not just the bowling that is a concern, it's the overall makeup of the side right now.
See, apart from Babar Azam and Saim Ayub at times can play with the Mayer approach, they have aggressors. You know, they have to split it. You know, they need to have few players who could actually anchor, and the other one has to go after the bowlers. If you have so many dashes in your lineup, you tend to lose wickets very early, and then the game is finished. So they have to split. You know, they have to get that combination working for them, and it will require some thinking.
You almost feel for the youngsters that they have, though, the likes of Ali Raza. You know, he came through the ranks from under 19 and a great story, and he's got lots of potential. And even Sufyan Makeem, I mean, just coming to you, Lisa, I mean, you're working with youngsters, and it's often so happens that when they do play international cricket or league cricket, which is rather competitive, they get hit around. I mean, how important is it for the think tank to be giving them that kind of confidence?
Look, I think it's important to give them the chance. It's all about resilience now. So the main thing is that they give them the opportunity and create the environment where, okay, let's have a look at what you've done. Let's have a look at these 4 overs. What were you thinking? What was your plan? What were you trying to execute? Go back to that. Go back to the process. This is where players are made, right, in these hard leagues when they come up against international cricket. I'm not a big fan of protecting players. At some point, you've got to expose them. You've got to see where they are at. And whilst it didn't go well for Ali Raza, I think the main thing is that he has that ability to fight back, and we'll know that in the next game. But there are still a lot of things to like about him.
I just want to add one thing. Like I said before, that the players at times need to be kept in their comfort zone. You know, when he started off, you know, there was a short third man in place. You're asking him to bowl stump to stump, where Farhan was actually donking the ball. You need to have a clear-cut plan. Okay, if the batter is going great guns, what are the lines we have to bowl? When you talk about Ali Raza, he's a tall, lanky, fast bowler. His strength is to pitch the ball back of the length outside the off stump. Whenever he bowled there, he looked very poor. But he was asked to do something which is not used to.
I mean, I guess it, like you rightly pointed out, having the right field placement and being in sync with the bowler is important. But Islamabad United have done that really well because they've got the 4 points at the top of the table, and Qalandars are right behind them. The top 4 teams will be qualifying for the playoffs. All right, then we continue in the HBL PSL 10 as we move on to the next one, which is going to be tonight, pretty much live at 7:50 p.m. But that's going to be from Karachi. Would love to have more crowds in Karachi come out and support your team in huge numbers because they've won that first game. Karachi Kings, they are up against Lahore Qalandars. You know, it's the El Clasico of the HBL PSL. When you look at both these sides, Karachi versus Lahore, it doesn't get bigger than this, Amir.
It's a very old rivalry. It is, still is. And I think Lahore will be gunning to win that game against Karachi Kings. That's for sure.
Absolutely, and Karachi will be a team that will be riding high on confidence because they won a spectacular game against Multan. Multan scored lots of runs, and Karachi managed to chase it down. You know, just the kind of win that you need at the start of the tournament.
Yeah, when you lose 3 wickets in the power play, you need someone to have some brilliance. James Vince did that. They shouldn't have won that game. They did. So they are on cloud 9. So they need to make sure that they continue that so that they can join Islamabad United at the top.
All right. And just in terms of David Warner, it just seems like, Amir, because he's been handed over the captaincy, there's that sense of responsibility that you're seeing he's more animated in the field, and it's good for Karachi Kings.
He's not captain for the first time. I think, yes, it's a challenge. It's a new territory for him to come to Pakistan and lead Karachi Kings. But I think he's got the experience. And one thing I'm sure he'll be looking at very keenly is what is the potential of the players and how I'm going to use them.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your thoughts, both of you, Lisa and Amir. I think it's time to call it a night. The action continues, as you know, in the HBL PSL, although it's going to be in Karachi, but it's a big one. Karachi take on Lahore. It's always a great game, so I'm sure that you're all going to be tuning in for that. That's pretty much all that we have for you from here. Until next time, it's goodbye.